When you read a great novel, your mind performs a silent miracle. It initiates the rapid, vivid assembly of an entire world. You see the light through the windows, you feel the humidity in the air, and you navigate rooms that exist only in your internal space. Yet a strange gap exists between how we inhabit fiction and how we approach the Qur'an. For many, the interaction becomes a ritual of the tongue. The focus rests on the rhythmic perfection of the vocal cords, the precise placement of the breath, and the acoustic beauty of the recitation. Reading without actively imagining the universe within the text results in a simulation of entry. The sounds are produced, but the consciousness remains entirely on the outside of the meaning. The Qur'an anticipates this mechanical engagement. It contains a specific warning for those who treat its verses as mere sound. Verse 10:100 identifies a cognitive processor called aql, the active reason required to handle the data of the book. Without this processor, the signal hits a terminal wall and degrades into Rijs, a state of perceptual noise and defilement. This Rijs acts as an internal jammer. It ensures that the reader hears the words but cannot resolve the pattern they form. Simply possessing the physical text or memorizing its sequence provides no bypass for this cognitive static. Treating the book as a vocal exercise alone triggers a system lockout. The reader either engages the imagination to see the structure, or they remain confined within the noise. We have to ask why the threshold of this language feels so difficult to cross. The difficulty often stems from how we are taught to read it, as a collection of historical fragments that can only be understood through external reports and ancient biographies. Verse 39:23 provides the internal solution. By naming itself Ahsan al-Hadith, the best statement, the Qur'an establishes its own verses as the primary data points. It suggests that any external report must be measured against the book, rather than the book being measured against history. This creates a self-correcting system governed by mutashabihat, self-similar patterns, and mathani, which are paired recursive structures. This internal repetition functions like a holographic code. Because the patterns are consistent, any single part of the book can be used to reconstruct and verify the meaning of the whole. Every root word and narrative mirrors another, creating a web of internal definitions. The book explains itself, removing the need for outside historical authority to validate its truth. It is an unhackable, self-executing environment. Relying on external data breaks the very recursive mechanism designed to reveal the light. Within a closed system, the figures we encounter in the text take on a new functional reality. Ibrahim, Musa, and Yusuf operate as precise psychological and spiritual coordinates. They form a structural network, the team of RAHMAN. These are nodes within a vast topological map designed to teach the reader the mechanics of navigating the ego. To read their stories is to determine the exact coordinates of your own internal state at this very moment. The map is only useful if you are willing to walk the terrain. Ibrahim's fire at verse 2169 is a present test of trust. In the reader's own moment of trial, the chaotic heat of the world's accusations must be witnessed as it transforms into a field of cool blue energy. Suleiman's floor of glass at 2744 is the point where the reader sees through their own worldly illusions, realizing that what they mistook for solid water is a transparent, manufactured surface. Musa's sea represents the psychological boundary where the ego reaches its limit and finds that the only path forward is through a total surrender of the self. These are active processes occurring within the reader as the words are processed. The Qur'an demands that these trials be felt as immediate reality. It is the moment the reader realizes the book is reading their life with the same intensity they bring to the page. The book functions as an eternal tesseract of memory. Pulling on a single narrative thread begins to reveal the structural fabric of the reader's entire life. Navigating this overwhelming scale requires a specific point of stability. The activation command for this system is found at verse 1912. Take the book with strength. The strength required here is a total alignment of the reader's internal structure with the text's own architecture. It is an act of holding the pattern so tightly that it becomes the reader's own internal frame. The observer becomes the operator. The words are no longer being read from a distance. They are constructing the reality of the person holding them. The ultimate result of this engagement is a transformation of the self. You cease to merely recite the pages and become the living, breathing execution of the book.